There is an old saying among our people: a house is not built for love, it is built for rain. Long before romance, family existed to solve problems. It protected children from hunger. It carried names beyond death. It ensured that no one stood alone when life became difficult. Love was welcomed. But responsibility came first. In this chapter, we return to a time when family was not a feeling, but a system. We often look to family with a modern expectation, a hope that its primary purpose is to make us happy. But what if this view is fundamentally flawed? What if we've forgotten the original blueprint? The truth is, family was never designed to make us happy. It was designed for something far more elemental, far more urgent. It was designed to help us survive. This wasn't a cold, unfeeling arrangement. It was a profound recognition of our shared vulnerability in a world that was often harsh and unforgiving. Survival was the bedrock upon which everything else could be built. Without it, happiness was a luxury that couldn't be afforded. This wasn't a localized phenomenon. Across the world, marriage existed to solve practical problems: survival, lineage, labor, care. It was the original social contract, a strategic alliance that bound individuals into a resilient collective. This wasn't about finding a soulmate in the modern sense. It was about forging a partnership that could withstand famine, conflict, and the relentless challenges of the natural world. It was a system of mutual obligation, a web of interconnectedness that ensured the group was stronger than any single individual. The needs were immediate and undeniable. Children needed food. This was the most basic, non-negotiable reality. A family unit ensured that the hunt, the harvest, and the hearth were all coordinated to feed the next generation. It was a promise of sustenance, a daily commitment to keeping hunger at bay. Land needed hands. A single person cannot clear a forest, terrace a hillside, or bring in a harvest alone. The family was a workforce, a team organized to transform the wild earth into a source of life. Each member, from the youngest to the oldest, had a role to play in this vital shared enterprise. Elders needed support. Those who had spent their lives contributing to the family's well-being were not cast aside when their strength waned. They were revered as living libraries of wisdom and experience. In return for their guidance, the younger generations provided care, ensuring dignity and comfort in their final years. This was the cycle of reciprocity in action. And names needed continuity. A name was more than a label. It was a connection to the ancestors, a link in a chain stretching back through time. To continue the family name was to honor those who came before and to ensure that the lineage, with all its history and heritage, would persist into the future. Seen through this lens, it becomes clear. Marriage was not built around emotion. It was built around function. It was a sophisticated structure designed for resilience, a social technology perfected over countless generations. Its success was measured not in fleeting moments of bliss, but in the steady, enduring strength of the family unit and the community it belonged to. This is not to say that life was devoid of feeling. Far from it. Feelings mattered, but they were never allowed to carry the full weight of family life. They were understood to be transient, powerful, but ultimately unreliable as a foundation for something so critical. Affection, joy, and companionship were the beautiful outcomes of a functioning system, not the fragile pillars holding it up. Love was encouraged, yet responsibility remained non-negotiable. Love was the water that helped the garden grow, but responsibility was the soil, the fence, and the tending hands. It was the unwavering commitment to one's duties, regardless of the emotional weather of the day. This distinction was the key to stability. When family worked, it was not because people were perfect. It was because the system understood human imperfection. It anticipated selfishness, laziness, and conflict. It created clear roles, expectations, and a strong sense of collective accountability that guided individuals back to their purpose. The structure was designed to be more robust than the flaws of its members. This ancient wisdom, built on the foundation of function and responsibility, created a framework that allowed families not just to survive, but to thrive for millennia. It was a system that provided for the young, honored the old, and ensured the continuity of the whole. But over time, we began to forget this purpose, replacing the sturdy architecture of function with the delicate pursuit of feeling. And in doing so, we may have lost something vital. Desire is not new. Jealousy is not new. Scarcity is not new. Desire and jealousy are ancient currents that shape our social world and test every community. Ancient societies did not pretend otherwise. They faced these forces directly and planned for them. They studied themselves honestly, a lived empirical practice in village and family. They observed across generations. Desire could build or break families. Jealousy could poison. Scarcity could push desperation or cooperation. Wisdom lived in proverbs, stories, and traditions. They asked hard questions. How do we ensure everyone is cared for? How do we channel male ambition to strengthen the community? The answers were pragmatic systems. In many African societies, polygyny arose as organization, a social technology to distribute resources, ensure protection, and respond to imbalances from high male mortality. Similar structures appeared across regions worldwide, suggesting parallel solutions to similar pressures. Different people, different beliefs, similar pressures, the fundamental challenges of survival, procreation, and social harmony are universal. The raw mathematics of population, the fragility of life, the need for cooperation. These were the constants that shaped their world, just as they shape ours. The goal was never perfection. These systems were not utopias. They acknowledged conflict and pain. Family was designed for reality, for resilience over romance. Structures could bend without breaking, absorbing human failings and hardship for the group's stability. Systems did not deny desire. They placed it within responsibility, like building a hearth to contain fire, warming the whole household and community. Desire was acknowledged and accountable within a web of duties and mutual support. These systems endured because life was lived in daylight. Open courtyards, shared work, and neighbors who knew you. Work was shared. fields, water, and hearth drew many hands. Obligation, not charity. Children were raised by many. Aunties, uncles, and elders taught, corrected, and protected. Roles were named and understood. Provider, cultivator, craftsperson, guardian, elder. So work flowed instead of colliding. Accountability came through kin councils. Disputes were heard to heal relationships, not to shame. This was not men winning or women losing. Strengths were paired so the lineage could stand. Rules guided negotiation. Failure was corrected by the group. Success lifted children and elders together. Feelings mattered, but duty carried the weight. Emotions change. Promises to family and ancestors endure. Over time, the system changed. Family was no longer treated as a structure. It became a feeling. Romantic exclusivity replaced communal responsibility. Legal enforcement replaced social agreement. Privacy replaced accountability. Desire, however, did not disappear. It simply went underground. Secrecy replaced openness. Double lives replaced negotiation. And feelings were asked to do what systems once did. Many families now carry the weight alone, without the structures that once supported them. So we must ask, not angrily, but honestly, what happens when desire remains, but structure disappears? In the next chapter, we will ask a difficult question. If monogamy is the only acceptable model, why does secrecy remain so common? And what happens when society refuses to talk about what people quietly live?